The Aeneid tells the story of a Trojan, his journey from Troy to Italy. The second part records the battles with the Latins to establish the city of Rome. Virgil created the saga to link the city of Rome back to the War of Troy. To learn more about Italian and Sicilian literature, consider subscribing. The Trojan fleet is sailing across the Mediterranean towards Italy. Aeneas leads the fleet. The goddess Juno is angry with the fleet as her favourite city, Carthage, will be destroyed by the descendants of this fleet. Juno asks Aeolus, king of the winds, to generate a storm which severely damages the fleet. Neptune, the god of the sea, is no friend of the Trojans, but is angered by Juno's actions at sea and promptly calms the storms, saving the remainder of the fleet. The fleet finds shelter on the coast of Africa, where Aeneas seeks to bolster the shattered navy's morale. Aeneas ventures into the city of Carthage and gains the favour of the Queen Dido. In the future, Carthage will grow to become an enemy of Rome. The goddess Venus encourages his half-brother Cupid to imitate the son of Aeneas. The disguised Cupid offers gifts to Dido. Dido holds the boy during a banquet, and this causes her to question her fidelity to her murdered husband. Aeneas tells Dido how they arrived at her court. The crafty Odysseus enabled the Greeks to enter the city of Troy, smuggled in a wooden horse. The Greek navy had pretended to sail away, leaving the wooden horse, and the Trojans believed the wooden horse was an offering to the gods. The Trojans planned to keep the wooden horse to help them in the future to conquer Greece. A Trojan priest saw through the Greek plot and demanded the horse's destruction. The Trojan priest was killed by serpents emerged from the sea. The remaining Trojans proudly dragged the wooden horse inside the city walls. As night fell, Greek soldiers snuck from the wooden horse and opened the city gates. At this point, the Greek army entered and destroyed the city of Troy. Hector, the Trojan prince, advised Aeneas to flee with his family in a dream. Aeneas awoke to see the city ablaze. He saw Pyrrhus, son of Achilles, kill King Priam of Troy. Aeneas' mother, Venus, led him back to his house. As the family prepares to escape the city, Aeneas looks for Creusa. Aeneas sees Creusa's ghost, who foretells his destiny is to reach Hesperia, the Greek word for Italy, where a kingdom and a royal bride await him. Aeneas gathers the other surviving Trojans and they build a fleet of ships. They travel to Thrace, where they find the remains of Polydorus. In Crete, they build the city of Pergamea as their believed end destination, before plague causes them to flee. At Strophades, they find the harpy Celaeno, who instructs them to leave for Italy. She foretells they won't find Italy until hunger forces them to eat their own tables. At Buthrotum, Aeneas meets Andromache, the widow of Hector. She still laments her heroic fallen husband. Aeneas also meets Helenus, one of Priam's sons, who prophesies Aeneas is fated to find the land of Italy, where his descendants will rule the known world. Helenus instructs him to go to the Sibyl in Cumae. Aeneas sails away towards Sicily, where he is caught in the whirlpool of Charybdis and pushed out to sea. They arrive at the land of the Cyclops. They meet a Greek, Archaemenides, one of Ulysses' men, who has been left behind when his comrades escaped. Archaemenides joins them on board and narrowly escapes Polyphemus. At this point, Aeneas' father, Anchises, dies of old age. Aeneas heads to Italy, but a storm takes them instead to Carthage, where he met Queen Dido. Queen Dido has fallen in love with Aeneas. Juno tries to distract Aeneas from his destiny of founding a city in Italy. Aeneas is tempted to abandon his quest and remain with Dido. Mercury is sent to remind Aeneas of his destiny, which he cannot escape. Aeneas quietly slips away at night, leaving a heartbroken Dido to commit suicide by Aeneas' own sword. As she dies, she predicts eternal strife between Aeneas' people, the Romans, and Carthage. She alludes to a future revenge in that Hannibal will win great battles against the Romans in the future. As he sails away, Aeneas looks back, puzzled, at the smoke of Dido's funeral pyre. While he doesn't understand what has happened, he reads this as a bad omen. Bad weather takes Aeneas back to Troy, from which they eventually do reach Sicily. Aeneas organises funeral games to honour the anniversary of his father's death. A boat race, a foot race, a boxing match, and an archery contest. Each contest foreshadows future events. The boxing match anticipates the final encounter of Aeneas and Turnus. The target during the archery contest, a dove, is connected to the deaths of Polites, King Priam, and Camilla. Juno sends her messenger Iris, who, disguised as an old woman, incites the Trojan women to burn the fleet and prevent the Trojans from ever reaching Italy. Her plan is thwarted by Ascanius and Aeneas. Aeneas prays to Jupiter to put out the fires. Aeneas is comforted by a vision of his father, who instructs him to travel to the underworld to see a vision of his and Rome's future. Jupiter demands one of Aeneas' men as a sacrifice in return for safe passage to Italy. The unfortunate Palinurus is put to sleep by Somnus and promptly falls overboard. Aeneas descends into the underworld, accompanied by the Cumaean Sibyl. They arrive at the banks of the river Acheron and cross with Charon before passing by Cerberus, the three-headed guardian of the underworld. Here, Aeneas sees the fates of the wicked in Tartarus and is warned by the Sibyl to respect the gods. Aeneas meets the spirit of Dido, who remains unreconcilable. He arrives in the green fields of Elysium, where he speaks with the spirit of his father and has a vision of the destiny of Rome. Aeneas returns to the land of the living and leads the Trojans to settle in Latium, which is Lazio, Italy. King Latinus received oracles who announced the arrival of strangers, and they instructed him to marry his daughter Lavinia to these foreigners rather than to Turnus. Juno is displeased with the Trojans' good fortune and summons the Fury Alecto from the underworld to trigger warfare between the Trojans and the local peoples. Alecto incites Amata, the queen of Latium and the wife of Latinus, to demand that Lavinia be married to the noble Turnus, while Aeneas hopes to avoid the fighting. Nonetheless, hostilities commence. Aeneas seeks help from the Tuscans. At the site of the future city of Rome, he meets a Greek, the king Evander of Arcadia. Evander's son, Pallas, agrees to join Aeneas and lead troops. Venus brings Aeneas a gift of weapons made by her husband, Vulcan. A shield is decorated with the future history of Rome. The Trojan camp is attacked by Turnus, while Aeneas is away. A nighttime raid by the Trojans on Turnus' camp leads to the deaths of Nisus and Euryalus. Turnus is forced to retreat by jumping into the river Tiber. Venus and Juno speak at the council of the gods. Aeneas returns to his camp with his new Arcadian and Tuscan allies. Pallas is slain by Turnus in the ensuing battle. King Evander has entrusted Pallas to Aeneas. This won't end well. Mezentius, Turnus' ally, sacrifices his son Lausus while he flees. Mezentius is haunted by his decision and returns to face Aeneas in single combat, where he promptly dies. The war resumes shortly after the funeral of Pallas. Camilla, an Amazon character and virgin devoted to Diana, fights gallantly but is poisoned by the coward Aruns. During a truce, single combat is proposed between Aeneas and Turnus. The Rutuli, urged on by Juno, break the truce. Aeneas is hit by an arrow and is healed with the help of his mother Venus, and eventually returns to the battle. Turnus and Aeneas dominate separate parts of the battlefield. Aeneas attacks the city of Latium, and the despairing queen of Latium hanged herself rather than be captured. He forces Turnus into single combat. Turnus' strength fails him as he throws a rock, and Aeneas' spear pierces his thigh. A kneeling Turnus pleads for his life. Initially, Aeneas is tempted to spare him, but on seeing the belt of the fallen Pallas hanging on Turnus' shoulder, being used as a trophy, Aeneas proceeds to kill Turnus in a violent rage. The Aeneid was considered a success from the outset. It is believed Virgil recited parts of it to Emperor Augustus. The poem caused Augustus' sister Octavia to faint on the mention of her son during the poem. Virgil was taken ill during a trip to Greece. As he sailed back to Italy with disease, he eventually died in Brundisium, which is Brindisi, in 19 BC. His wish was that the unfinished manuscript of the Aeneid was to be burnt upon his death. Emperor Augustus ignored that wish and ordered that the Aeneid be published